stuck in this cycle, and there's no way to get out. I see it all around me. It's from the earth that it's proud, but I rebel. Oh, I resist.
What is up, everybody? That's right. You are back with Jay and Rod for another episode of The Iron File. What is up, everybody? Jay, go ahead, man. Holla at the people.
What's good, y'all? This is funny. What's up, y'all, man? This is the kid, J-Man6, and we live.
We here. All right, man.
Yes,
yeah. As always, you guys, I'm always excited whenever we get an opportunity to do this and to share with you all. But kind of on a serious tip, I know we usually try to keep it lighthearted and fun, but my heart is kind of heavy, right, with the way that everything has been going, the state of our world. And so I definitely want to spend some time talking about that with everybody. I feel like this is a conversation that is very much needed. So it might get kind of serious, but I feel like there's purpose in that, right? And so without further ado, we're gonna try to keep this thing rolling, man.
Yes, sir.
Jay, we're gonna, our first segment.
Yes,
this
sir.
is the warm up. So
Man.
go ahead, man.
Man, so yeah, bro. My week was cool, bro. Right, so we got more dire things to talk about, but a quick side note, last week I was talking about praying for a breakthrough, and I said I didn't even know what I need a breakthrough from. But God gave me a financial breakthrough. Monday I was able to get a promotion at the job. It was like 20 of us that got promoted to a different department. And so praise God, like that is going to be a real blessing. It's going to be a blessing to the church. It's going to be a blessing to be able to give to those in need. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a blessing to my bank account.
Amen.
But,
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, I've been really listening, bro, to the frustration of our people, bro. I've been listening to the frustration of the black community, and then our counterparts, right, who are not necessarily black, but they are showing just as much love, frustration,
Right.
and hurt throughout the situation. And I even took note while I was at my job, right? We got a new department, new spot, and I could see how we segregated ourselves unintentionally, bro.
Yeah.
It was so unintentional. So but the previous department I was in, it was my first week of work. I asked my boss where he wanted me to sit. I just so happened to sit next to a black girl next to me. She got promoted. And so when I go into the department, I see her sitting there. So of course it would not have mattered if it was a white person that I was cool with. I probably would have sat next to them. Why? Because I knew them, right? Because I had already established that relationship by sitting with them. But as soon as I go into the department, I got promoted. I was the last person promoted. I was promoted. They did their hiring on Friday. I didn't get an interview on Friday. I didn't talk to nobody on Friday. I didn't even get notified that I was getting moved until an hour in on Monday. And they had already started training. So by the time I got to the new building, the new department, people had already had their seats. And so the black girl that I was sitting next to, I don't know why I got this in my hand, dog. The black girl that I was sitting next to in my previous department was there already, and there was an open desk by her, so I just sat by her. But there was another girl who had already known Diana, the girl I knew, and she was black. And then my homeboy got the promotion too, and he was black. And then all of a sudden, it's just a whole bunch of black people sitting right here, and then it's another group of white people sitting over there, and it's just like, dog, we segregated like that. Day one, we segregated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's just sad, bro. Like it's so unconscious, and so I'm grateful, right? Because in my diversity communication class this past semester, we talked about the fact that you need to reveal your unconscious biases. You're not going to know like, oh, I have a natural bias. I have a natural comfortability. I have a natural comfortability around being around black people. Like, why would I not be most comfortable around my own type of people? That's who I kick it with for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, when I'm hanging out with my friends, right? And so it's one of those things where I had to be mindful. I had to take a step back and be like, dang, dog, It's a whole bunch of black people right here, a whole bunch of white people over here, and we're showing love. Like, everybody's showing love. We just happy we got promoted, bro. So it ain't no hate, ain't no animosity. But let some beef happen with a group versus our group. You know what I'm saying? Let something divide us, and it's gonna be like, yo, it's gonna be us versus them. Cause I rock with these people. This is my homeboy. That's my homegirl. Every time I had a question, I could ask her, and she would help me. So I got my loyalty with these people, and so it just shows how the problem is the problem. This is a problem.
It is,
and it doesn't have to be an intentional problem. You don't have to be intentionally trying to.
Yeah, it's born.
Be malicious.
It's bred in this. Let me not say born in us, but it's something that's instilled in us over a lifetime of living, right? Like it's the craziest thing, right? And you never know. And that's why what you listen to is so important, man. That's why we do that segment. What you allow into your ears is so important, because I guarantee you, man, the craziest thing. I know you saw the Drew Brees thing.
Yeah.
And I know we're gonna talk about that, but I know you saw the Drew Brees thing, and it's like, in his mind, he probably thinks he's saying the right thing, but it's all based on what you're listening to, right? Because literally during the entire when people were kneeling, they pulled receipts, they show video of my man kneeling with them, right? So the whole Drew Brees thing is like, I understand you apologizing now, right? But you thought that was okay. Right, you thought it was okay in a moment.
We'll get in on that, bro.
Whether you felt like it was before or not, in that moment, you thought that it was okay.
And that's the problem. My mom, we were talking about it right before I had left for my friend's dinner. My mom was like, "How could he not know he was gonna receive backlash?" And my dad was like, "What? You really thought he was gonna receive backlash when he said that?"
No,
and I was like,
he was gonna get a pat on the back.
I was like, there is no way you think he thought that he was gonna get backlash. Like, he literally, in his mind, it made sense in his brain for when he said that. That's the entire reason why racism does exist, is because your point of view is your point of view, and it makes 100% sense to you. Right. It literally lays out, like, you can map it out, you can blueprint it out, and you're not gonna see any error in it because it's in your brain. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I was mentioning, like, I grew up in Wentzville, bro. A lot of the things they said to us,
man,
it's disrespectful when you take a step back and like, what does that mean? And when I moved out here, bro, in 6th grade, we were just talking about, like, the house we live in, and I remember one of the kids named Cody. We were talking about our houses, and I started describing my house. And he said, "You people can't live in a house like that." And it's just like, wait, what? Like, first of all, I didn't even know what that meant. I literally did not even know what that meant, bro. And so I went home and I told my mom and dad about it, and they were heated, bro. They were pissed. Obviously, they talked to the teachers. You know what I'm saying? And so from a kid's standpoint, he might not even have known that he was conducting, or, you know what I'm saying anything that was racist. Just like Drew Brees didn't probably see that he had a lack of insensitivity when he made that comment, bro. And so it's the exact same thing I was talking about with how we can naturally sit with the black people and the white people are going to naturally sit with the white people. It is unintentional, and that's why we have to have the protests. That's why we have to have the riots. That's why we have to wake people up and be like, yo, this is not okay. This is unacceptable. You cannot just take somebody's life there has no justice behind it.
There's no consequence or anything behind it. And so what I've really come to realize is that we're dealing with battles on two fronts, right? That you ever hear people say when they pray, like, old saints, and I know you grew up in church, I did too, and they say, Father, forgive me of my sins of omission, sins of commission. So the deliberate sins, and then the ones that you don't know that you're doing. It's literally the same thing with racism. You have people on one side who is like, I'm not racist. I'm not, you know what I mean?
I got a lot of people
call them, a lot of people call them closet racist, or the my sister-in-law's black. Like, you know what I mean? Trying to make a connection where there is none.
I love rap.
We don't need you to try to connect and say that. Right. It's like we don't need you to make connections in the sense of like, hey, I'm okay being around you. Like, no, I need you to make a connection in terms of understand me, right?
My everyday struggle.
And my everyday struggle. And I feel like we'll definitely kind of get into it, man. I spoke about it a little bit on the IG when I talked about the way forward. Right. But that idea of understanding all of those things is a part of that way forward. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I definitely feel like we're dealing with battles on two fronts, and then you have those that are just blatantly like, you know what I mean? And this is
willfully,
and I try to stay away from this is what God is doing in this moment, but it's hard not to see it, right? You're in a moment where most people aren't working, right?
Right.
Nothing else is going on. There aren't a lot of distractions, right? So you have to see it
You
right now.
have
Like
to.
It's in your
Yes.
face, right? With the
Yes.
entire COVID
Yes.
situation, you're
Yes.
not gonna see it swept under the rug or next issue. Like, no, there's no sports right now, so all the sports people are talking about it. You know what I mean? It's all over the news. You couple that with the amount of outrage that everybody is feeling. This is why this movement is getting the move that it's making, and I would be remiss to say that God is not in this in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? So
no,
just
for sure.
looking at the way
For sure.
that things are moving, I truly believe that God is in the middle of all of this, just for the simple fact that you can't run from it, and everything is getting exposed. Everything is getting exposed. People are dropping text messages. People are dropping stories. People are doing a whole lot of things, man. Real quick, bro, I want to tell this story. And it's not like I got a bone to pick with Walmart, but I remember being 16 years old, right? I think every black person can tell a story where they've experienced racism. I can go down the list. But this particular one really just shocked me, bro. I was 16 years old with my pops, and we getting ready to check out. I think we had like 25, 23 or 24, something like that items, and we went to the 20 items or less line. My pops, he goes to take a thing or two back, and I'm standing in line waiting. And as I'm putting the stuff on the little belt in order to check out, this older white man walks up to me with like a box of Cheez-Its or something. He was like, can you read that? I was like, yeah, we got like 22, 23 items now, man. So my dad just told me to put this here. I'm going to put it here. He was like, I don't think you heard me. Can you read that? And I was like, all right, bro, I don't know you, so I'm not finna keep responding. Like, my dad told me to do this, so I'm putting this here with my pops told me. He was like, I don't think you read that. And you wonder why this country doesn't respect you blacks. And immediately my first reaction is, yo, this white dude finna end up on World Star because I'm finna drag him all up and down these Walmart aisles on me.
See,
but
that is infuriating.
It's infuriating. It's infuriating. But the frustrating thing to me is that the manager at Walmart then tried to say, hey, no, it's over. Just as I turn around and say, what did you say to me? My dad walks up and he says, hey, is there a problem? Like, what's the issue? What's the problem? And then the dude starts getting all scared. I don't know if you see, my dad's kind of big. My dad is not a little dude. He a big dude.
For sure.
And then the dude start, well, no, just your son. And I said, dude, tell him what you just told me. And I told my pops what he said. And my dad starts getting upset. It's like, first of all, if there's a problem with the child, you don't speak to the child. You speak to the adult. And then the Walmart lady, she comes over and she escorts him to another line. Don't worry about it, sir. It's over. It's over. My dad said, you let somebody tell that to your child. You experience what I just experienced, and then you tell me it's over, right? And there's this history of just things being swept under the rug just because people think that, for the sake of peace, we'll forsake the wrong. We'll forgive the wrongs. We'll forgive no, that's not how that works, right? And I get it, bro. Forgiveness is everything. However, that mindset that gentleman came at me with, it's wrong. It's wrong, and anybody that says anything otherwise is wrong.
Yeah, dog.
And that's the frustrating thing, man. So I genuinely feel like a lot of these things are being exposed, man. There are stories, man. I heard something today about a fire chief talking about, I don't know who started this, but we need to find a tree. It's like, yo, what? We need to find them and find a good tree to put them. Like really? Why is that your mindset, man? And I know I'll let you go. I remember you saw the video of the young girl, Haley. Shout out to Haley. Salute to Haley for having that tough conversation with her parents. But, like, dude, it's ingrained in them so much. They said, I'm not going to care about black people unless they care for themselves. What? What? When her mother said that, I said, you got to be kidding me right now. Like, that can't genuinely be the way that you feel about it.
And it is, bro.
Like, that can't genuinely be your thought process. And so there's a certain level of ignorance that people not unknowingly want, but they're willing to accept, right? A certain level of ignorance is where it says like, yo, I don't care if they don't care, right? When
And-
it was
and the
when if it
thing
was
about
switched
it
around,
is-
you want everybody to care about the issues that you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? But man, I really that whole situation. I'll let you talk about the Haley situation.
Yeah, okay. So, bro, those conversations are few and far between. Salute to Haley, right?
Mhm.
Because
I know you grew up in environments like that, so I know that you kind of got a
Right.
little bit more experience with how they deal with that.
and that's why I said salute to Haley, because most children, and it's just how it is, right? If your mom and dad don't condone something, the child is going to be like, all right, even if I might want to do something in this area, I'm not going to because my parents don't accept it. All right, so my house is facing this way, and the across the street neighbors from them, or from us, is a white girl, a year older than me, a grade above me. In 6th grade, I don't know what the trend was, but everybody in my grade was dating girls older than us. And me and her were like talking, doing the whole dating thing, like we were hanging out, kicking it with each other. But I remember distinctly that she said that that she could never tell her parents that we were doing anything or dating because I was black. And the saddest part about that was because I had been living in Wentzville, that sounded normal, right? Because I had been living in Wentzville, I thought that was just the normal thing. Well, I am black, so I guess I can't date. You know what I'm saying? I can't date you. You know what I'm saying? And so, and what I'm getting at with that was, she submitted to what her parents felt and valued, right? She wasn't, and how can you blame a child for being able to be like, no, I'm gonna stand my own ground. I believe what I believe in and forget what my parents say.
Right.
Forget what they believe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's very hard for a child to do that. Mind you, I just said we was in 6th grade. She was in 7th grade. You know what I'm saying? It's a little different when you 23, 24, 25, and you feel like you had your own experiences in your own. So salute to Haley. I don't know how old she was.
Hey.
But if you hear that conversation, the parents were so comfortable about saying that because you can tell in the conversation that their peers were in agreement with that.
Absolutely.
Everybody in that community was in
Absolutely.
agreement with that statement. So, and it happens, bro, right? So I saw how our neighborhood ran, right? So we have kids my age. When I was growing up, we was just kids in the street, and you would see the parents sitting outside on their driveways drinking a beer, and the parents are all just sitting around, right? And that's when the conversations begin to happen.
Right.
That's when the conversations
Right.
begin to
Right.
spark. Dog, and it's hard to just talk about Haley's situation because I did live in white suburb area. Like I lived in this environment, so I have a lot of experiences, right? When me and my family moved into this household, bro, I've never heard of this. My next door neighbor Googled my dad to try to figure out what he did.
Wow.
What was his profession?
Wow.
Like why was he living? People came up to me, it was me, like the children was like, yeah, my mom and dad said your dad is a drug dealer. There was times that like I said, bro, there was times me just driving my car, I literally am being followed by the police all the way to my house.
Right.
And just because I opened my garage doesn't mean like, okay, he made it home safely, let me drive off. They're literally watching me walk into my driveway, walk into my garage, shut the garage. I go into my house and I see them still sitting in my house. I mean, sitting outside the house. And so when you live in a community where it's predominantly white people, and the black people that you do have in Wentzville live in a low income part of the city, right? So we have this place called the Valley. That's the low income part of Wentzville. And only black people live there for the most part, right?
Right.
And so even if we had diversity, which we didn't, bro, black people were segregated and confined to their own small little environment. They were confined and segregated to their own environment. So white people didn't even have to experience them, bro. They didn't even have to come into contact with them.
Oh,
They didn't have to go.
absolutely.
They didn't have to see them face to face. So when you get a individual like me, and by the grace of God only, right? My dad handled his business. My mom handled their business. We bought this house from scratch, basically got the house built. You know what I'm saying? Moved into the house.
Right.
And it's a beautiful house. It really is nice. And so people were asking like, yo, why are you doing this for your son? Why are you doing this? What type of job are you, like, how much do you make in a year? Trying to just, I don't know, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to go too deep, but what I'm trying to say is the mentality of a white community.
The mindset
is, yes, bro. The mindset is, we have made it.
Right.
The white community has made it. And because we don't see any black people around here, clearly that means they're not elite. That clearly means that they have a deficiency. That clearly means that they don't want to have income, or they're lazy, or they enjoy selling drugs and
that's the mindset of it all, is they don't want us to be a part, right? Everything that they thought that this country was about, they have this ownership mentality, this possessive mentality that says that everything in this country is ours. But you didn't build this country with your bare feet and hands. You didn't build this country on your back, right? Like you didn't go through all the things that our ancestors had to go through. So to have this entitlement attitude that, oh, well, you guys were slaves, we don't owe you anything. The fact that you're not slaves anymore is good enough. Like, no, bro, that's not the way that this works, right? That's not the way that this works. And so you said it, bro, it's a mindset. And even where I grew up, man, when my parents first moved here, the house that they lived in, the house that my parents live in today, they built that when I was 1, right? We moved in when I was 1 year old, and there was more Caucasians around at that time. Now, granted, there was a good mix, south of Dallas and Cedar Hill area, but the problem with it is as I grew up, the fewer and fewer white kids I saw in my classes. Right, they started pulling their kids from the education system. They started moving out. They started doing all these things. Why? Because they don't want us to be a part of it. Right? They don't feel like we deserve to be in the same space as them, and that's the frustrating thing. That's what we're battling, is a mindset. Right. And so I kind of want to shift gears, man. I mentioned earlier when we were talking about the way forward, and man, I don't want to worry about segments, man. I don't want to worry about any of that, man. Let's just
let it flow.
The way forward, right? And you talked about a mindset. We're not battling slavery. We're not battling Jim Crow. We're not battling segregation. We're not battling police brutality. Those are all symptoms of a disease. And the disease is hatred, right? The disease where racism stems is hatred. And the problem is we keep dealing with all of these issues, and it takes us years and years and years and years and years. But the real battle is the footwork that needs to be done every single day when you come into contact with these people going into those hard places. And you may get shunned, you may get booed, you may get kicked out, right? But it's the same thing. Jesus gave us the blueprint on how to deal with this situation. Right. He gave us the blueprint on all of this. You talk about the Samaritan woman and the ways in which he approached that woman and did what he did for her. Jesus gave us the blueprint. Right. And I did a Bible study earlier where we talked about this, the different ways in which God speaks. God has told us everything that we need to know about this moment right here. He told us that there will be separations, like in Haley's family, to separate father against son, mother against daughter. He told us that there will be persecution and rumors of war and all of these different things. He told us a lot of this, but he also told us, don't be afraid. Just know that means that I'm coming back, and you need to do everything that you can do to pursue me and to push my will forward. And I start thinking about the will of God. And one thing that I got from it above anything else, beyond anything else, is love. The way forward is love. And that's it. Until we get this concept that we are here, we were made for love. We were made with this idea in mind of love. The thing that baffles me, bro, is it says it in 1 John, I want to say chapter 3. 1 John chapter 3, where it talks about God. God is love. So to say that you've experienced love, to say that you serve God, but you don't have love in your heart for somebody who looks a little bit different than you lying to yourself. Right. To say that you have love in your, to say that you worship God, or to say that you're a Christian and all these different things, but to not reach your hand out and try to understand somebody. You want to know?
It's like a zoo, bro. It's like literally, I'll keep going with the zoo, bro. People can be like, yo, I love a lion, but you would never get that close. You would never be intimate with a lion. And absolutely. It was sick, bro, in Haley's video, right? And I hate to use an animal in that situation, but it literally is how they view us, right? Right. I just used a zoo as an illustration that I could be the white person, right? And I love the lion. The lion is the black person. And I use the lion as it's an animal, bro. And in Haley's video, that's what the Father called us. We're animals, bro. And so from a distance, if they ain't got to interact, if they ain't got to see us, if they don't got to be affected,
Right.
if they ain't got to, you know what I'm saying? If everything that,
Right.
yeah, I don't have a problem with black people. They're fine. Like, everything is good. Like, I don't, like, my neighbors, the family that I said that the parents would have a problem with her dating a black guy,
Right.
they wave to us every day. Like, they talk to us every day. Like, they, from a distance, right? If you could stay on your side of the street, if you could stay on your side of the street and wave, we'll talk to you. You know what I'm saying?
But when I get in your face, then what?
Exactly.
When the issue is brought to your front door, then what? You got to make a decision. And that's why I love this moment right here. You can't just sit on the sideline no more. You got to make a stand. You got to choose what side you're going to be on. You're going to be on the side of love and justice. You're going to be on the side of equality and peace. Or you're going to be the one that, you know what I'm saying, that sticks to your biases, that sticks to your guns. And that's why I love this moment. And people are upset. People are turn it off. I don't want to hear it no more. I don't want to see it no more. But you going to see it. There's no way that you're going to hear or feel anything else. Why? Because it's time. And I feel the frustration, bro. We had a heated conversation earlier this week. I'm sorry I didn't mean to cut you off, bro, but I was feeling that.
Good, bro. Keep going.
We had a heated conversation before earlier this week, man, where we were kind of talking about it, bro. And what I realized, man, is you were so right in a lot of these different aspects where you were talking about how come the movement isn't movement, right? The consistency of it all. And the thing is, it's not that we weren't consistent. It's that people weren't forced to see it. They weren't forced to be a part of it, man. You talk about the civil rights movement, the 381 days. It was in the newspaper every single chance that they got. It was in the newspaper every single day. If people had televisions around that time, it was on the news every single day. And you want to know what really happened, what really brought change in those movements that Martin Luther King and all of them marching and stuff made? It was when people were getting beat on national television. Yes, exactly. And that's when the president had something to do with it, right? That's when he stepped in and said, we're going to stop this, right? So, of course, yeah, bro, it's a part of the process. And we had this conversation, man, and I feel you, bro, because most of the country feel that same exact way. Why are we still doing this? Like, why hasn't something changed yet? Like, why are we still at this moment? What is the issue? What are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? And there's so many people that look at and say, what are we doing wrong? It's like, no, we're doing what we need to do. Yes, there can be certain levels of consistency. I'm in no way, shape, or form am I saying that we are doing everything 100% right? But there are people that are fighting, people that have dedicated their lives to this. But the issue is that they weren't forced to see it all the time, man. You talk about the media, man, there's people that have been trying to get on CNN to talk about this stuff for years and years and years and years. But now you ain't got no choice. You ain't got no choice. And that's what it is.
And it's a blessing, right? Everything has perfect timing because, like you said, bro, COVID was the talk of the town, right? That was the talk of the nation. That was the talk of the world. And as things are starting to cool off with COVID, people ain't really got nothing to do still. Sports are still not on. You know what I'm saying? People still are quarantined for the most part. You know what I'm saying? And so as soon as this happens, it's just like, yo, obviously news stations, and I think, bro, sometimes it's love, bro. So I don't want to go pessimistic, but I want to say that as a reporter, as a news station, your objective is to get the most hot topic. And so by the grace of God, this is the most hot topic. You know what I'm saying? And so now finally we got our opportunity, and that's what ET talk about.
We got to take advantage.
Don't get ready, stay ready, because whenever your opportunity come, you better take that mug. And this is our opportunity, so let's take it, bro. And this is the thing, bro. And I think for action on our end, right? So for the black community, right? Because I realize, bro, as much as the white people who do love us, who do support us, who do feel our pain, bro, they don't live it. They don't. They are not afraid. They hate that we are afraid, but they're not being killed at the rate we're being killed. Right. So when they see the police lights, bro, and I saw something just a couple minutes ago, right, where it was like a white kid just murdered like 7 people being handcuffed and escorted, right, walking on his own 2 feet. Some other kid had killed like 23 people, handcuffs, standing up, escorted. But George Floyd, a forged check, has a knee on his neck, has breath being taken out of his lungs. You know what I'm saying? Who is it? Eric Garner. Same type of situation. Literally crying out, I cannot breathe. And it gets to a point where it's like, yo, I'm glad that you guys feel our pain, but at some point in time, it's the black people that have to live it out. We're the ones that have to experience it. We're the ones that have to literally walk in fear every time. I promise you, bro, when we leave the house, our parents are not just at ease. Our parents aren't just like,
my mom is never at
son.
ease.
Never.
Dog, she was
Literally
just on my head. She was just on my head. I just came down to spend some time. And bro, my mom was heated because I didn't call. Every time I go somewhere, every time I travel, it doesn't matter where it is, bro. I went to work and she was like, boy, you better tell me when you get to work. Especially right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Every
like my
time.
pops, everybody pissed. Like,
Every
yo,
time.
you have to communicate. If I don't know where you're at, how do I know how to move? Right? And there's most people that never understand it, that never have this type of idea.
Fear,
like, man,
dog.
I remember hearing white kids at school talking about, I didn't tell my mom, I just went to Colorado for spring break.
Literally.
Like, what? If I would just dip out, do you realize my mom would be
The type
trying to
of
find
panic.
like what?
Literally.
Panicking,
Literally,
bro.
bro.
So
Jesus.
it's a different type of feel. You right, bro. We have to live it out. We're the ones that have to live it out. And I say this, the ways in which that they can help, right? They may not have to live it out, but the fact that they have that compassion in their heart to say, hey, this isn't right, this is wrong. It's up to them to put the pressure on their peers, the ones that they can go in and have those conversations with. That's why, bro, I love Haley for what she did. Right? Because if we try to have that conversation with, oh, it's just another black person that's upset, that's trying to, no, but when your own daughter comes and sits to you in your face and tell you you're wrong.
And she did not back down.
And she didn't back down.
Let's go.
So we got to be,
Praise.
That's why I say, bro, the way forward is love. We have to, in unity, no matter what the group, we have to, in unity, be able to stand together against it. Like I said, bro, you can't be on the sideline no more. You got to pick a side. You got to choose which side you're going to be on and rock with it. And you're going to have to go. You're going to have to fight.
And let's do this thing for the black community. It's a wonderful thing if you're protesting, right? It's even effective if you're rioting. I'm not hating on the riot. I understand, right? And CJ broke it down. He was like, bro, for the people who are rioting, like, you have never rioted, bro. I've never rioted. And it does have to do with the way we were raised and growing up. But he was saying, like, bro, if the world ain't never gave you nothing, the world gave you a gun, the world gave you crack, the world gave you literally one parent household, bro. The world gave you your dad living in jail, bro. Bro, what's it gonna hurt? What's it gonna hurt for me to get a pair of Nikes, dog? The world don't care about me no way. The world ain't about to look out for me no way. The world ain't about to do nothing for me no way. What does a pair of Nikes gonna hurt? How's that gonna hurt nobody?
And my mom explained it like this. She said, it's almost like, because one of her coworkers was asking a question, I don't understand why they're rioting. It's like this. And I hate to use this example of animals, but it's the same way that they do animals in the zoo is the same way that they treat us, right? Literally. So if you're a tiger, right, and they keep hitting you, they keep the way they do animals in the circus, and eventually, at some point, they're gonna poke you too many times, and you're gonna lash out, and it's not gonna be no, I'm just gonna get the one that got me. No, you gonna spaz. Anybody in the area
animal,
can get
we
it.
Gonna react like an animal. If you want to see an animal, we can show you an animal.
You cage me up long enough and treat me bad long enough, bro, I'ma lash out on you, right? And that right there, like, I'm not mad at any of that. I'm not mad at any of that. I understand, but it's a part of the process. Go ahead.
The beautiful part about it is they said, like, no Kobe mural has been touched, right? So that means there's a level of intentionality behind we're being intentional. Like, we ain't just about to, we're not just taking the opportunity just to act ghetto. This is not just our time to, like, we got some respect for the people who have paved the way, for the people who have shown respect to us, for the people who have love for us and support us, bro. We not going to, and that's the thing about the black community, bro. If we rock for you, we rock for you, dog.
If we ride for you, we gonna ride till the wheels fall off. And that's the thing about it, bro. That's why I genuinely feel like God is in the middle of this situation, because I feel like he wants people to understand that. He wants people to see that. Now, there are those who have their dispositions, those that have PTSD. It's like, yo, I can't even, like, I don't have the emotional capacity to keep doing this, right? And for them, there's prayer, there's rehabilitation, and I'm never gonna give up on somebody, right? I believe that everybody is redeemable, but there is this idea of, like, yo, we gonna ride for you regardless. At the end of the day, like, once you show me love, bro, I got you always, man. It's a kid, it's a kid up the street, man, and I love this white family, man. Shout out to them. I was able to go to their house whenever. I could go and swim in their pool. You know what I'm saying? He could come up and we could watch movies and eat popcorn. And I appreciate my parents and his parents for doing that, right? Of course, they were Christian. They went to church and everything, and they would invite us to different events and things like that. It's doable. It's
Yeah.
doable for everybody that thinks
dog.
that it's not, it's doable. But my frustration is when you say that we're doing something that's different than what you're doing. We're doing the exact this entire
Right.
man. Let me
Right.
let me say this, bro. It's extremely hypocritical for anybody to say that rioting and protesting is against America or as stupid or as foolish. Do you realize how America was started? Do you realize that there was an
Right,
American
exactly.
Revolution?
Go there.
The thing that they
Go
love to
there.
boast about in their history is the same
there.
thing that they did to get the country that they're in right now. What do you think the Boston
sir.
Tea Party was?
Come on.
Destroying merchandise of the people that you felt like were oppressing you.
Come on.
The Stamp Act and all of these different things. Man, it's so hypocritical for
one
you to
more
say that
time.
you can't understand why people want revolution and want change when the entire reason you came to this country was because of religious oppression for most of the people that came.
Jeez.
This wasn't just an economic opportunity for people to come over here and make a better life. No, you were tired of being oppressed. So to say that you don't understand why we're doing what we're doing is to say that you don't understand America. And if you
Say you don't understand your own history.
you don't understand your own history, and to completely ignore that is to be ignorant. So I don't want to hear anybody say they don't get it.
This the history that they want to hold on to is that Confederate flag. That's
Oh.
the history they want to hold on
What?
to. That's the thing that they want to remember. And so it
And
becomes,
shout out to the mayor of Kentucky, man. I think it was Kentucky. Shout out to him. He said that statue of Jefferson Davis. He said we're taking that out. It represents a dark period in our history. I don't understand how anybody can celebrate that. I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, that's deep, bro. Yeah,
I don't
and
understand.
Salute to the mayor for that. But y'all, hopefully, and here's another thing, right? Jamal said it, and go watch that podcast, bro. They
I
just posted
watched
it,
bits and pieces of it. Yeah.
and Jamal was just saying, like, dog, when he was being like enlisted or like whatever they do to figure out where you're going to be deployed in what area and what city, right? So if you like naturally like speak Spanish, they're going to put you in an area where if something pop off and a person is panicking and they only can speak in their native language in that moment, the officer can respond to them.
Right.
He said, yo, the black community is the only community with their own language that you can't check to say like, yo, I speak, he said it more eloquently, but I speak the black language, right? He said, yo, the black community speaks with their hands. So as soon as we start getting like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, bro, like, and we do all that hand gesturing and hand movement, a white person, bro, is in terror, is in like fear, like, oh,
They don't understand the passion
is
we
he about
speak
to
with.
grab something? Is he about to grab a knife? And as soon as a black person is doing that hand stuff, it's just like, okay, bro, I hear you, bro. The fact that you doing your hands like this, I know you serious, right? The fact that you doing all your hand movement, I understand that you coming from a level of seriousness in this moment. So let me take whatever you saying as seriousness, right? And so it's frustrating, right? Because he was saying like, dog, the white people that would be deployed into these environments came from cities like my city. When I said I had 3% black people when I moved out here, there was 3% black people in this community, which means I was the only black kid in my class, bro. Dami would be the only, and it was right. So we finally like clicked up and got a crew, and then finally, as Wentzville, at one point in time, Wentzville became one of the fastest growing cities in the nation. But before that happened, bro, Dami was the only black kid in his class. I was the only black kid in my class. Tyrell, Trey, Jake. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were all the only black kid in our class, bro. We always felt that awkwardness, bro. We always felt that as soon as we would talk about Martin Luther King, we always felt like that, those stares at the back of our head in our temple, bro.
Right.
And so the white officers are coming from environments where they don't experience black people, or the black people that they experience, like us, had to figure out the system and say, okay, we have to talk proper. We have to wear our pants a certain type of way. We got to wear a certain type of shoes. We got to, whatever the white culture is doing, we got to do what the white culture is doing so that they don't feel like we're intimidating.
Right.
And so the white people who are meeting us, they're not even really getting an authentic version of a black person.
Right. You getting
getting
what we were taught, how you act in front of white people. This is how you move. This is how you make them feel comfortable. But bro,
So when you get dropped off as a police officer in the hood, dog, and
Right.
they only speak
Right.
black. They only
Right.
speak Ebonics, bro. They only speak, you know what I'm saying?
and I'm glad you went there. I'm glad you went there because I want to say this, and I don't know who saw the did you see the video of the officer from Flint, Michigan?
Yeah.
Mark
Yeah.
Ingram's best friend.
Yeah.
I want to say this, right? I feel like no police officer should go to a place where he doesn't know the area. right?
Right.
You don't know the different nuances of an area. I feel like we definitely need more people. His challenge was, yo, y'all young black men, get in there and challenge it. And so I want to give this shout out real quick. I have a cousin, right? Aaron Hill. He's a detective in Arlington Police Department. And I never knew the entirety of the story, but I know that he said that he had a bad experience with cops, so he became one, so that would never happen again.
Dog.
Right? We have an issue with cops, so let's change the narrative, right? The best way to change something, this is
That's
something
what
I
you were
learned
saying,
at work.
bro.
This is something that I learned at work. They said that a lot of times the best process is the best way to improve a company or an organization or anything is from the inside, right? And so they have the place that I work, they have an open door policy where if you think that a process could move better or be better, we have an open door policy. You can come in and discuss it with us. So I'm saying as a black community, that's one thing we definitely need to do moving forward. Get in there, right? Get in there. I know a lot of people talk about voting and all of these different things. There's so many steps to this, right? There's so many steps to this that everybody can do something. Some people protest. Some people can give money. Some people can do all of those different things. But we got to get in to the place where they're destroying us.
Because and this is the thing, bro, this is what I noticed, right? Because I don't be outside, dog. I really don't. Like, I be at work and I go home and work out. And what I noticed when the gyms finally opened, bro, when I would hit the gym, I saw the people that I knew. I saw the kids that I grew up with. I even saw, like, the dads that were the parents of the kids that I grew up with. So what happens when you're in the hood, bro, or you're in a predominantly black city, but you become a police officer and it's your job to patrol the city?
Right.
When you pull up on a kid, hey, bro, you so-and-so's little bro.
I know your mama.
Or, I know your mama. I know your uncle. I know your... Bro, we went to church together, blah, 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 blah. What's up? How can I help you? What's going on? Hey, bro,
absolutely.
Just go inside, fam. Like, and then you could talk to him like a brother. You could talk to him like, bro, yeah,
because
I know
connection.
I know your big bro, a knucklehead, and what happened to your big bro? So let's, you know what I'm saying? Then you could talk to him a perspective of like, bro, we are here to hear. We're not different. I grew up in the exact same school. Oh, you know Mr. So-and-so? Or you know Mrs.? Bro, I was getting suspended in the exact same, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and those are the steps, right? Those are the steps. Because that's not the end all to be all. I told you before, we're fighting a mindset, right? And so what we're really fighting is the ability to connect to a different culture or a person that doesn't look like you. Can you, out of love, connect with somebody? And right now we are missing that key component. So to make the transition possible, right, so where we can get to a point where even if I'm not from your city, I can still relate with you. Why? Because you're a human being. That's missing, right? So until we can get there, we need people who know these areas, who know these people, who knows the different little nuances of a neighborhood, of a community, to be in those communities and police those communities, because that's gonna help more than anything. That's gonna help.
What do you do? What did we do? How did we meet, bro? I just want to know, how did we meet?
Bruh, we was at orientation, Texas Tech orientation. And I was sitting down. You walked up to me, was like, "Hey, bro, I see you an engineer major. I'm an engineer major too. What's up?"
Sir, exactly.
Yeah,
2 pieces, right? That was 2 pieces. But what I was gonna say, as far as the police department, if you were about to be, if I was, it's not necessarily white versus black, right? This is not a battle of white versus black, but the black community is the community that we're trying to uphold in this situation. But if I were to become a cop in El Paso, Texas, what is the predominant culture in El Paso?
Hispanic.
Okay, so if I were to go to El Paso, bro, I need to, before the officer even allows me to patrol the city, bro, before he even allows me to patrol that environment, I need to spend my orientation. Yeah. I need to just spend time with the community, learning who are these different people. Oh, you own this building? Okay, awesome. Nice to meet you. My name is Jordan. I'm about to be a police officer in this environment, and just start building connections, bro. There was one thing. I was trying to get a job, bro. Whatever. Everybody trying to get a job out here after you graduate, bro. It's stressful. But there was a job at Mutual of Omaha and another. They are just insurance companies, right? But both of them, because the way it's set up, they want you to be your own owner. They want you to build up your own clientele. They want you to build up your own connections, right? And so there was literally a strategy. One company was like, yo, we want you to reach out to 250 different people in this community before we even bring you onto the team.
Right.
we need you to build clientele, because the second you become a financial advisor for this company, you can't. That's not the time to try to figure out who is out here.
Right.
That's not the time to figure out who needs financial help. That's not the time to try to figure out who do you know that knows who somebody else knows who knows somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
We need you to figure out all of that before you even become full time with us. Go find 250 people, put their names down, go bring
Right.
it into our system to prove that you know this community, that you got connections in this community, that you know somebody that is going to need financial help.
Show us that you can relate. And I think that needs to be a requirement, especially for the police department. Show us that you know how to do people, right? Can you be a people person? Because that's what your entire job is, to protect and serve the people. I get it. Learning how to shoot, cool. Learning how to drive a car, cool. All of those different
That's only
things.
half
The
of
worst,
it.
yes. They just train them on the worst case scenario. So they go in with only training for the worst case scenario.
So
It's
that's
like,
the only
yo,
thing that they even
teach-
mindful of. Like,
teach-
oh, this about to get bad.
Bruh, teach them how to do people. Teach them how to go to the community centers and play basketball with the kids. Man, one of my other cousins in North
Dog,
Carolina.
That's what they need to do, bro.
I
They
think
need
he
to
works
spend
for the
time hooping,
yes.
bro.
He works for the sheriff department. And man, he'll post videos on Facebook all the time of him out there jaying the kids on the basketball
You know what I'm
court.
saying?
Be in a community that you know,
Be
man,
in
and
the
connect with
community,
the
dog.
kids. Connect. You took an oath. Honor it. Honor it. Don't just take bro, you understand what an oath is?
Right,
An oath?
right, right.
An oath is
supposed to be
outside
like-
of your own prejudice. When you commit to something, man, it's outside of circumstance. Commit to what you say you was gonna commit to. That's your oath. It doesn't matter if the kid is black or white. You took an oath.
See, and bro, when I talked to you, I guess it was a couple days ago, I was like, bro, it's hard for other police officers, right? Because I put us in a situation. I was like, bro, if my life is in your hands every single day, and your life is in my hands every single day, and you make a decision as my bro, I'm just gonna follow you.
Yeah, they turn
right?
it into a fraternity.
But I thought that would not be us, bro. Because if you were my bro, and I do in some way, in shape and form, feel like your life is in my hands, like not like that, but it's like, yo, bro, like I
Yeah.
can help you succeed. I can help you help you be the best version of yourself. I can help you in many areas of your life, right? And so if you over here doing things that are harmful, bro, if you over here doing things that are detrimental, if you're doing things that are not cool, bro, and I'll take it back as an example of what you did with me, right? Me and Drea would be arguing, bro. And you did take the initiative to be like, bro, like you would try to step in and say like, dog, stop that, cut that out, dog. That's not necessary. You need to do X, Y, and Z. Unfortunately, I was not listening. But if I was in the position of trying to take somebody's life, bro, I promise you, you would have been a lot more forceful with me. Like,
absolutely.
bro, come here, dog. Get out of this room, because your life matters and that person's life matters. And I don't care how frustrated you are. I don't care what your prejudice is. I don't care what you think.
Accountability.
Bro, this is not okay. This is not okay. That is not right. And I will never let you think that is right. And that's something that you got to have as a brother, bro. When I see my brother doing stupid stuff, bro, I don't even let him get the opportunity to talk. I'm like, bro, shut up. That's not right. That is not correct, bro. That's not the way you're supposed to think. I don't even let him get it off, bro, because that is not successful, right?
Right.
And I think for the for the cops, bro, it's like, bro,
accountability.
You gotta know what is right and what is wrong, and you are the most prominent person that should know what is right versus wrong. And you are taking somebody's life, and you had other squad members that said nothing, bro.
Nothing. And that's why shout out to that black cop. I don't know her name. It was a black lady. One cop officer, he was frustrated with the protests, everything that was going on. And as he turned around, there was a young African-American girl kind of on the ground, and he pushed her, right? And she was not having it. And she told him, no, over and over and over and over again. It's like, yo, we need more of that. That is exactly what we need. Like, police, we should not have to write in there that police officers should hold other police officers accountable, right? That should be an unwritten rule. Right. That should be an unwritten rule. So this idea of accountability, man, it has to go deeper.
And the system needs to go deeper. Everybody who watched him take his life, every squad person that was there needs to be arrested, needs to be tried. What happens if I remember Ray Lewis got arrested, bro. They said there was a shooting that happened or whatever happened. Ray Lewis was arrested. Whoever else was in the environment was arrested. They all got arrested. Even if Ray Lewis did not do nothing, even if he didn't even touch a gun, even if he was not the person that took anybody's life, he still was accountable for the group. And that's what has to happen, bro. Every squad person that's on that mission, every person that got called in for that mission, bro, that's what happens, right? If you're on a football,
the George
if you're on a
Floyd
football
situation,
team,
all of them accountable.
if you're on a football team and one person messes up, does the one person got to suffer?
Oh, not
Or
at
does
all. Everybody.
The entire team has to suffer for that one.
Everybody.
And that's what needs to start happening. It's like, nah, bro, I'm not going to let your hatred mess me up. I'm not about to let your hatred get me suspended. I'm not about to let your hatred get me fired from my job. I'm not about to let your hatred stop me from protecting
Absolutely.
the citizens that I said I was going to protect.
Absolutely.
No, bro, get off of his neck.
Absolutely, man. And I kind of want to shift as we get ready to wrap this up. Again, the way forward, right? We talking about the ultimate goal. What is the ultimate goal? It's for there to be peace where everybody can feel like they can live and grow and, you know what I mean, pursue whatever life that they want without fear of prejudice, without fear of murder, without any of that, right? And the way to that is what? Love. If you don't got love in your heart, it's hard for you to understand the plight of someone else.
And so let's break that down.
Love is what
weeks,
makes a mother understand why her kid slips up sometimes. Love is what makes a father understand why his son is going through what he's going through. If you don't got love in your heart, it's hard for you to understand. And the Bible says what? Above all else, if it costs you everything that you have, get understanding. Get an understanding, man. And that right there is the most crucial thing that you can obtain, right? Get an understanding, right? Because an understanding forces you to have compassion about somebody. Forces you to have compassion. Like, how you gonna understand something that you don't care about?
Attempting to understand.
Attempt. And you're not gonna attempt if you don't care.
What's his name? Trace? Is that his name?
Remind me, what was it again?
A couple days ago, you were talking to me about how you had I don't know if he's a pastor or what he was. He was just trying to understand.
Trace, yes. Shout out to my mentor, Trace Hunt. Phenomenal guy. Also Jeremy Bolins, two phenomenal crew members, Crusade for Christ. I don't know if you know what that is, but yes, they sent me messages just talking about how much their heart hurt. And I said, the fact that you're here, the fact that you have understood, I've sat in your house and you've asked questions about the black community, wanting to understand the culture and the different things about it. Like, you have a heart for this, right? You have a Christ-like heart. You have a Christ-minded thought process where it's not about race, but I do want to sit down and understand you, right? That's the start of it. Right. You're doing more than half the people in this country will ever do in their life because you were willing to sit down at the table. Right. And that's what we're looking for. Just feel me. Right. Everybody wants to be understood. There's not a human on this planet that doesn't want the one thing that everybody else wants, to be understood. Right. Everybody wants to be understood. I want you to feel me. I want you to connect with me. Everybody wants that. But it takes love. It takes love, and that is the way forward. If there's any way forward, it's love. You talked about it, bro. You said, if God's not a plan, then I don't know what is. And it hit me. It really did. If God is not a plan, then what is? Why? Because God is love. That's the plan. That's the plan.
For sure.
So absolutely, man. Absolutely. Oh, shoot, man. I really feel like we could go on and on about this, but for the sake of time, man, I really want you guys to start a conversation with yourselves, amongst yourselves. Anybody that's listening to this, start a conversation with somebody that doesn't look like you. Start a conversation anywhere, right? If you have questions, comments, concerns, comment on it, right? And don't drop no comments underneath that's going to start some, you know what I mean? But if you have comments, if you have questions, talk about it. Talk about it. You can hit us up.
One thing I want to express is when I took my trip to Italy, it's so easy to get caught up, right? So when I was in Italy, right, I'm talking about we don't know nobody. You can't know nobody in a whole different country, right? Mm-hmm. And the people it was easy for us to associate ourselves with was with other people who spoke English, who were other Americans, who were other students that came on their study abroad trip, right? And it didn't matter if they were from TCU. Shout out to my friends in TCU. It didn't matter if they were from Butler. Shout out to my friends in Butler. It didn't matter if they were from the University of Oregon. Shout out to y'all too. Everybody that spoke English from America, we was like, hey, yo, what's good, dog? It's good to see somebody like me, even though we didn't look like each other, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I want to continue to go down deeper is there was a kid he was my roommate. His name is Trajan. Shout out to him. He made the most connection with Italians. Why? Because every person he tried to talk to, he was like, yo, I just want to I'm trying to immerse myself into this. And so he came out with the most Italian friends. He had a little Italian shorty by the end of this. And he literally, and I would get invited. Obviously, that was my roommate. So if you stepped out, I was stepping out too. But for myself, I was reserved. Like, yo, I can't even speak your language. And so when y'all start talking, I can't even enjoy this conversation because I don't have nothing to relate to. But it was beautiful to see how many friends Trajan had at the end of this trip versus the amount of friends that other people had at the end of the trip. And he just jumped in and he said, yo, teach me. I want to know. Like, I want to have a conversation. Now, he was fortunate enough to take Italian classes before the trip. So he had already had some Italian under his belt. That's why he was a little bit more comfortable. But that does not stop the fact that he was trying to get into the culture. He wanted to know somebody else's culture. Yeah. And the second you try to know somebody else's culture, they welcomed him. They were like, yo, here's my homework. Look at my homework. Can you figure this out? I want to teach you. Say this word, say that word, say this sentence, say that sentence. And then they were even trying to add sentences like, because they're obviously like European countries, bro. They are a little bit more advanced as far as language goes. And so they're over here taking advanced English classes, talking about like, okay, how does this sentence work? So he put him in a position where they were both mutually growing off of each other. But he had to take that step to say like, yo, I want to be a part of your culture. I want to know your culture. Right. So for the white people listening to this, take the time. Like if you feel comfortable with me and you want to go take a trip down to St. Louis and I show you around in St. Louis, or you want to take a trip to Dallas and where I show you around in Dallas, if you feel comfortable with us, we will gladly welcome you in. We'll gladly talk to you about our culture. We'll gladly talk to you about our history. You know what I'm saying? But it takes you making the effort. It takes you making the effort to say like, okay, I do want to understand your culture. I do have subconscious biases that I don't want to have anymore.
Yeah. And that's the thing is you have to want it. What does he say? I can't remember what specifically it was. What does he say? You can't make me want what I don't want. Right. So if you don't want to understand me, you're not going to understand me. I can't make somebody not hate me. But if you recognize that there's something in you that should not be in you, I'm more than willing to help you. More than willing. You just got to be willing to jump in. All right. But nah, man, absolutely. Please continue to spark conversations. Use what you have. Use what you have. If you're a graphic designer, if you speak, whatever you have, use it in this moment. It's needed. Whatever you have is needed. Man, we're gonna wrap this thing up and we'll let you guys get out of here. But please remember, the way forward is love. Get some compassion in your heart. That's how we move forward on this. That's how we see the things that we want to see is love.
We're not expecting you just to be like all in day one. If you're on the hesitant side of like, should I be for Black Lives Movement? It's just like riding a bike. You start with training wheels. Study. And then you take your training wheels off, and then you got to figure out, okay, how do I balance this joker? Oh, I got to go a little bit faster to stay up. And then that you understanding the formula behind love is going to require you to love even more. It's going to require you to learn even faster. It's going to require you to love even harder. So all I say is just take the initial step. Take that initial try to say, all right, I'm going to make an effort to love. When I see a black person, I'm going to take the effort to get to know them. When the black community, when we see a white person, we're going to take the effort to get to know them. Because bro, we are hating on the white community, or we're hating on people who can take our life without showing love. But I want to know, like, okay,
love your enemies.
How many of them have black homies, right? Because I really doubt that these police officers got black homies, black homeboys. You know what I'm saying? Where they're like, yo, I ride and I die for this person. You know what I'm saying? Because when you see it, bro, I literally saw a picture of Jamal on the Secret to Success podcast. I was like, bro, that looked like me. And it hurt, bro. It's because it's like, it looked like me. When I see, bro, I literally see a random black person like looking swaggy. I'm like, bro, that look like Rod right there. that look like Rod, bro. And it's not to say that all black people look alike, but it's like, yo, that black individual should draw a connection to somebody else that you know, right? That black individual should draw a connection to like, yo, I feel comfortable around this person because I've had a relationship with a person like that before. You know what I'm saying? So just make the effort to love. Make the effort to get to know other people, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, this was a good session, man, and I'll continue to be trying to be a part of this conversation. But as always, you guys, we love you. We thank you so much for listening with us. Hit us up on all social media platforms at The Iron File. We love you guys, and thank you for making our mission a reality, man. We're chasing this thing. You know what I mean? Sharpening the tools of life through conversation and collaboration. We thank you so much for making that a personal thing for you, right? As always, you guys stay sharp, and we will holler at y'all later.
Peace.
So I rebel, oh I resist. See, I know the race is won by those who still persist.